Welcome to Top Advisor Marketing, where you will learn how to become a prolific online influencer, attract more ideal clients, and grow your practice. Brought to you by Top Advisor Podcasting, a done-for-you podcasting solution built just for trusted advisors. And now, your co-hosts of Top Advisor Marketing, Kirk Lowe and Matt Halloran.
Hello, this is Matt Halloran again, and I'm interviewing Kirk Lowe, and we're going to talk about the 9 outcomes of a good financial brand. Kirk, how are you doing today?
Very good.
Good. Well, okay, so you've got these 9 things here, and I don't know if they're necessarily in order, but what is the most important takeaway from this article that you have on kirklowe.com?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the 9 outcomes. This first outcome, if you can achieve this, it'll be a long way towards probably achieving some of the other ones, but it's probably the most important outcome. And it's what you have to focus on when you think about your brand. So when you're considering whether or not you have one or what it is, I mean, everybody has one, but you may not be the one that you want. You need to articulate it as different and better. That's what you want to aim for. So you want to be able to state, hey, we're different, and this is why we're better. And that better usually means it's relevant, but we'll get into
that's difficult, isn't that, Kirk? I mean, the biggest problem in financial services industry is I love how you said it. We're in a sea of sameness. So how do you?
That was on our first take before I messed up.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, you didn't say sea of sameness on this one. Okay, well, we're going to tell everybody about this. Yeah, this is like our 9th take on this one. But so. What does that mean? So how do you, as a branding expert, pull that out of a client?
Well, the answer, I always say that the answers are in the questions. So you have to have good questions. And I've talked about that in a number of blog posts that I've done, but you have to have really good questions, and you need to ask those. But what you need to make sure is that you have to understand that as a financial company, whether you're an advisor or a different kind of firm, whether mutual fund firm or an IMO or a BD or an RIA, whatever you are, that for the most part you're all swimming in the sea of sameness. There, I use that line for you. Similar products, similar offer, similar solutions, similar services, similar audiences, fulfilling similar needs. And it gets really easy to use the same language. A lot of times when I interview people about their brand, they come up with the same 5 answers out of the gate. And I say, hey, tell me about you. What makes you different? What makes you better? And they say, oh, yeah, integrity. I have a lot of integrity. Oh, that's good. Trust. People trust me. My clients say, they can trust me more than they thought they could, or some other advisor, whatever it happens to be, or offer comprehensive services or holistic services. Yeah, I love that. I was going to try to do my Tim the Toolman Taylor voice, but I'm not very good at this. So I'd probably mix it with some kind of Russian accent at the same time.
Very nice. You have a download, right? Can't people download something to flesh out some of these questions?
You can download stuff like crazy. Because I have so much content. The best place to go to get that content is at Financial Marketing University, which is financialmarketingu.com. I have a branding course there. I've got papers on creating your own brand. Also on kirklowe.com, I talk about it all the time. But what you want to be, you got to focus on answering the questions the right way. And I always say that being in a branding going through a branding process is akin to working with a therapist. In fact, I have a client right now in Australia. He lives out in the country, has a farm. He's really interesting financial guy. And his wife always teases him, say, okay, you're going for your session with your psychotherapist.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that with him because he's an outlier in the financial world. Done some really amazing things. I mean, he had a fund that was the world leader for over 5 years.
Wow.
Morningstar said, hey, we're going to move you to a different category. You're killing everybody else. And they put him in a miscellaneous category, if you can believe that.
Wow.
And he subsequently has sold that. And he's more one of those financial guys who wants to change the world, not just by one client at a time, but he was trying to do it through corporations. Anyway, since he's an outlier, he's already very different, right? But you have to be able to explain that message, and you have to really get into how to do that without pissing off the world. or making other advisors feel stupid or demeaning them, right?
Right. But the conversation is the most important part. You can do this stuff in a vacuum, but unless you have that immediate feedback from somebody like Kirk or somebody on his team or a marketing and branding expert, you're not going to get the same results, because then you're going to say those canned answers. In fact, we just did that, Kirk. I'm sure you remember when I did the last season of Practice Makeover, and Matt Ackerman was interviewing me, and him and I were going back and forth about what people thought was a unique market or a unique brand. And you just said every one of them that we covered, because we as professionals in the financial services industry hear that all the time. So you have to be viewed as different and better. What is number 2?
Number 2 is your expertise is proven. So you can have an interesting brand, right? You can have some key phrases, some taglines. You can have some stories, have a great website that, has a good marketing copy that articulates your brand. But if you can't start to prove that you know what you know, I think your brand falls pretty quick. And people are pretty discerning these days, and they know how to use the website. They've been researching for years. They know what to look for. They know it's real. They know it's fake. So you have to be able to prove it. One way that you and I do that is we have a podcast.
Yep.
And we try to sound smart on this podcast.
Yeah, we're
help each other sound smart.
We're batting about 50% on that, I think, my friend.
Yeah, like I've learned so much from you, Matt. You're brilliant. TopAdvisorCoach.com. I do want to say that back to point 1, when you're branding, asking those questions, you can really challenge yourself to not come up with the systematic common answers. It's just it's difficult to do it all on your own. So it's good to have a friend, a coach, and if you're really struggling with it or want to get the best outcome, then you hire a good financial branding person. But if you can't prove your expertise, point number 2. Then why do they want to continue on with your site? Is this person really who they say they are? Do you think people question financial advisors and how professional they are, or if they really know their stuff?
Right.
They're just good salespeople. Do you really know 401ks?
Well, and show me. And I like that you're talking about the website, because if I go to you as a financial advisor, and then I go to another financial advisor in my community, and your website is exactly the same, I'm going to think you're either work for the same company or anything along those lines. And I don't necessarily want to chase the rabbit of the website. I want to point that out, because if you are able to communicate your brand and you're able to start proving your thought leadership, you have to have something that's unique and different visually that separates you from the crowd. But the other piece of that is this third question, or this third layer, which is so we understand that you're different and better. Your expertise is proven. But I love number 3, that there's proof you know your audience. So give me an example. Don't just pontificate. Give me an example of a company that you've worked with. You pontificate. You're damn good at pontificating, man. I don't even know if I can spell that word, but I love saying it.
That's why we're trying to keep this shorter.
Go pontificate.
So,
give me an example of somebody who knows their audience.
Yeah. How do you prove you know your audience? You can describe your audience. But how do you prove that how you prove that you really understand them is by telling them, speaking to them about what you understand they need. So if your expertise is estate planning, and you want to make sure that the audience that you're talking to is in estate planning mode, so I mean, that's not really establishing a really great audience as an example, but let's say that they're in a particularly they're in a situation where their parents are ill, and their last parent, and they need to take care of that. So you need to be able to make sure that whoever they are, or whatever situation they're in, that they completely understand that you get them by addressing the situation. Maybe you're addressing the emotional side of it. Maybe you're making sure that they understand that you understand the situation they're in and all the questions they're asking. So when you can identify with where they're at, the emotions, the fears, and things like that they're going through, that starts to prove that you know your audience. That's just one way. But whoever your audience is just think about that as an idea. How do I prove to you that I actually know what you want and need?
Well, and using their language, right? That's the other piece that I learned from you. So a couple of years ago, Kirk and I was actually really picking his brain and learning as much as I can. And I was working with a client in LA, and he wants to focus on this very specific sect of attorneys. And so what we ended up doing was learning all of the language that these attorneys use so that when he's writing white papers, when he's doing these videos, he's already speaking their language so they think that he's one of those guys, right? And I learned that from you a while ago. I'm confused about number 4, though. So I understand where we're at now. There's proof you know your audience, but explain what number 4 is.
One of the biggest struggles for advisors in their marketing is not just to have people come visit their website, but people to be ready to do business. But people they want to make sure they know you. So one of the best things about marketing is allowing people to understand what you are like, what your personality is like. Give them an opportunity to experience you. The easier you make that, the more likely you are to get them to move along the sales cycle. That sales cycle, they may not be ready to call you for a meeting or an appointment, but they may be prepared to, become your friend on Facebook or something like that. But the easier you make it to experience what it would be like to work with you, the better. Now, part of that is if you've got a paper or a podcast, if it's a paper, they can experience your expertise. If it's a questionnaire or a video, maybe they start to understand, okay, you really know me. And then maybe, you're doing a podcast and they get to hear your personality and they think, yeah, you know what? I really like that guy's sense of humor. He's really detail oriented and he speaks a language that I can understand. He really explains things well. That's how you make it easy to be experienced.
Well, video too. Obviously, I happen to be a huge fan of podcasting because I have a face for radio. But a number of people who I've worked with have created very short videos. And the amount of traffic and interaction that people get from those videos because they get to see you, they get to see your mannerisms, they get to hear you. People really connect with video. Have you found the same thing?
Absolutely. They connect with a voice too, though. And, we've been putting out some information about on a study there recently, one of my blog posts, about the emerging media that is podcasting. Did you know podcasting is just as popular online as Twitter is?
Whoa, no, I didn't know that. Are we contributing to that popularity?
No.
Not yet. We're working on it, man. All right, so people can experience you. What is number 5?
Number 5 is that it's easy to refer you. We've gone through this scenario so many times on our call, but when somebody has the opportunity to refer you, how do you make it as easy as possible? Hey, you should go listen to my friend Matt. He's a great coach. He's got a podcast. He's got a great website. He's got a book. He's got a paper. All those things. He blogs regularly. All those kinds of things. So you want to make it as easy as possible, and you'll get way more referrals. I mean, referrals are probably the biggest boost that the clients at Tactor Brand get when we launch stuff. It's much harder to Facebook advertising but like those attraction strategies. But the immediate bang is, hey, we already have a network. Your clients get excited about your new brand, your new website. They start talking about you. When you got stuff to refer them to, it makes it a lot easier. So
making headlines is the next one. How, in God's name, do you get advisors to make headlines?
Well, for starters, you gotta be good at producing content, and you got to be doing it frequently enough that you figure out what works. I've had some blog posts that have done really well in certain media with certain media partners, and other ones that have done less well. The ones that do really well are the ones that use the word leads in them, which is crazy because there's so much more to marketing for an advisor than leads, but those are the ones they like the most.
Yeah.
7 reasons advisors struggle with leads was one of my most read blog posts on iris.xyz. And even on LinkedIn, it was the same results. Like, what's popular on LinkedIn is the same stuff because the word lead in it. Mm-hmm. And advisors, you guys love that. We're gonna label this leads. We're
gonna get hundreds of thousands of people to listen to this by changing one word.
Yeah.
All right. So lots and lots of content. That's absolutely fantastic. Number 7 is significantly improve marketing results. So what are you talking about quantification here, or help me?
Well, this is the outcome of a good brand, right? So the outcome of a good brand is that you write good copy, or you write good content, and then you learn on what works better, and you can make headlines by having a good brand with good stories that people resonates with, right? Number 7 is that your brand should improve your marketing. So imagine you're doing an email campaign, or you're running an ad, or you're just out networking. All of a sudden, you've got a story to tell. I hate the elevator speech concept, but if you've got somebody's attention for a short amount of time, and you position yourself with your brand, with this nurture, well-articulated brand, you're going to have way more of an impact. They're going to be way more memorable. They're going to be way more likely to move through your sales cycle and experience other marketing that you have. And if you've got other good marketing, that's going to keep driving them through the sales cycle. And that's what a good brand does. So if you don't have a good brand in your marketing, versus having one, your marketing is going to be way more successful.
Number 8 is
So don't forget to do your brand first. If you're doing all these other marketing things and your brand isn't up to snuff, stop everything. Get that part figured out.
Number 8 is the one thing that I think I learned from you the most. So in the time that you and I have worked together, this has been just an absolutely eye-opening thing. And because of my interaction with you and learning from you over these last couple of years, I have done whatever I possibly can to increase being looked at as an influencer. Share with our listeners on how you teach people to really take that stand and become an influencer in their environment.
Yeah, so a good brand helps you have more influence, or build better influence, or be an influencer. And this now is being called omnichannel marketing, which means omnipresent, right? You're basically, your brand is everywhere, right? You're in social media, and in social media, all the content could be through different media. So it could be an article, so your blog post, it could be a podcast, an audio, it could be video. It could be an infographic or an image. There's all kinds of different types of media that you can put out there. When you bombard people in a good way, it has incredible impact online. So our podcasting, this podcast that we're doing now, eventually it's going to come up as a bunch of videos, audio clips online. They're going to share those like crazy. We're going to have quote memes. Hopefully you and I have said a couple of smart things each on this call, and our team at ACX, who takes our own stuff and walks the walk, produces an all piece of content. And then they're going to write all the social updates for us. They're going to start putting this stuff out like crazy. And we're going to have more listeners coming to our podcast, going to our blogs, calling us to do business with us, or asking us questions, or eventually saying, you know what, I can't afford you guys, but I can go to FMU and learn and teach myself, and when I can afford you, I'll come back. Or maybe just maybe you taught me enough about marketing, I can go hire somebody locally, or my cousin or my sister or my brother who are good at this, but now I have this context of how to be great at marketing, how to be great at building a brand. Influence is just being everywhere. But advisors think that they can win in marketing these days without content. You don't stand a chance. If you don't have good, authentic content, you cannot compete in marketing. You just can't do it. You can run seminars all day, but I know people who run seminars, they spend a fortune. Yeah. And some days are good days and some days are bad. And, but I can tell you right now, a podcast and doing content marketing doesn't have to be that expensive, and it keeps working for you. When you're done that seminar, it's done.
It's done. It has no legs.
It's going to work for us for years.
That's right. So I want to, and I love that, because one of the things, and I get objections all the time when I'm talking about social media marketing, especially on Facebook or LinkedIn, is they're saying, Matt, you're telling me I need to post 5 times a day. And the difference nowadays is it has to be in the person's news feed when they are on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, right? It's not like everybody's sitting down at 7:00 at night and watching, the local 60 Minutes. really they're on their screens. And if you're, and you said it, omnipresent, right? And if you're not there often, and here's the deal, is it's passive. It's not active. It's not in your face. So if they don't like it, they can swipe right by it. And that is a huge thing for all of you to just think about and digest, because content marketing needs to be consistent and it needs to be omnipresent. It needs to be ever present all the time, so that when somebody sees your message 10 times, which is the new statistic, they need to see your message 10 times before they consider taking action on it. That is a huge thing for everybody to digest. Okay, so influence. Number 9, explain what number 9 is, please, Kirk.
Number 9 is when you have all these great things going for you, all the content, the different types of media. You've got a great brand that's kind of charging and backing these things. When you have all these things in place, you inspire advocacy. People get jacked up about talking about you. Even people who are competitors in some cases. I've experienced that. I've had people coming to me recently who I thought were my competitors, and they're talking about sending me more business and doing stuff together. And like, that's beautiful. I love it. I love that you're open-minded. But when people see you doing good stuff, they just want to hang out with you.
That's right.
I mean, not literally hang out with me. I'm kind of boring, but
do work
I don't
with
have
you.
to drink that often. But it's get people excited. A good brand gets people excited. They want to work with you. They want to talk about you. Who wants to talk about somebody that is just kind of boring or sounds the same? Mm-hmm. There's no win in that for anybody. So be different, be your brand, tell the world. And these things will happen, but you got to do it frequently enough. You got to stop following the crowd, right? You got to dare to be different. You got to distinguish your brand from the tens of thousands of advisors out there. And a great financial brand starts telling that compelling story about who you are, why you're different, and why you're better.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to close with that. Thank you, Kirk, for your time today.
Thank you very much.
So we just talked to Kirk Lowe about the 9 outcomes of a good financial brand. You can check him out on kirklowe.com and also tactobrand.com and also financialmarketingu.com. If you just go to kirklowe.com and go to the blog section, you can download this paper. We're going to put this in the notes. Just to recap very quickly, the 9 things are: you are viewed as different and better. Your expertise is proven. Number 3, there's proof you know your audience. Number 4, people experience you easily. Number 5, people refer you easily. You make headlines, significantly improve marketing results. You have influence, and you inspire advocacy. And the last piece is so important, is you have to stop following the crowd. Don't be like everybody else. Be like you. Embrace it, enjoy it, and kick some butt. Thanks, and have a great day.